Hey everybody, I hope you're excited about learning how to draw face features and how to shade. I'm going to start with the nose, and I'm going to start by telling you that it's easier if you think about the nose as being 3 circles side by side and barely overlapping. You can draw this with me, or you can watch and then draw after or rewind, whatever you gotta do. All right, so these circles I'm drawing very, very lightly so that it lets you erase these parts. All right, and then what happens is the nostril comes out from the bottom of the ball of the nose, and it comes up and out and around, hooks around like that. It's important that you leave the side of the nostril with a little bit of space right here. You got some cartilage right here. So I'm gonna go over to this side. I'm gonna look at them, see if they match pretty good. Try to make them symmetrical. All right, and here I'm seeing this one can come up a little bit. Everyone's nose is different, but this is just your basic standard frontal view. Okay, so once you have this drawn, you can barely see these circles. If you leave these circles too dark, it's gonna sort of represent like a Dumbo the nose type of thing, and you'll have a circle off the tip of your nose, and you don't want that. So I'm gonna start with the first value that I refer to as, or that is known as, what's called core shadow. When I do this, my pencil marks are very, very light. If I hold my pencil like this, it's hard for me to get control of it. So your pencil's like a music instrument, if you saw one of my previous videos. This is dark, and as I get lighter and lighter and lighter, I back off my pencil until I can wobble it. All right, I call it wobble pencil, wobble pencil, wobble pencil. And I use that for blending or for very, very light values. I wanted to make some of these videos because in searching for tutorials, a lot of times artists will speed it up, or they'll use different leads. You know, you have your hard and soft leads. And you want this to be a very light gray. And I'm gonna get even lighter. So to get lighter, again, I backed off my pencil. So I'm like this, all right? So I'm using that pencil. I can go very, 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 very light. And I can blend these two areas together in very, very small circle-like I'm rubbing with my pencil very lightly. I'm gonna leave this area and jump over to where the ball of the nose meets, and I'm gonna make another coarse shadow right here. Follow that around and down. So when I'm doing this shading, I feel like it's very important to understand that knowing how to use your pencil and how to shade without using a blend-in stump or your finger, you know, sometimes students will do this and then they'll use your finger and it just smudges everything. You want to learn how to blend this nicely and control your pencil. That way when you get into colored pencil, which is something I teach as well, when you get into colored pencil, you have established that control. You want to make sure that you have that. All right, so I have core shadow here, here. We're also going to have one here and one here. I'm not going to the edge. The reason I'm not going into the edge is because that's called reflected light. Reflected light happens on objects that are round. It's just this little lighter area. It's not necessarily white. It's a light value. And then you cast that shadow, and that makes the nose pop up off the face. All right, so I'm going to go this way now, down here. Notice that I'm shading in a direction. I'm not shading up and down. I'm shading in a direction. The reason for that is you want to think about a string laying across your nose and what that string would do. And when you duplicate that direction, you're exaggerating the illusion of 3D. You want to really make this look 3D. I'm going to get rid of that string so it's not taken from my work here. Now I'm going to back off the pencil. I want to highlight here, here, and here. Everything else, I'm going to make a very, very light value, almost white. So I'm going to do that here too, very light everywhere except for this little spot right there. This little spot here. I'm going to put core shadow back over here. So if you watched me and you want to shade a little bit, you can stop the video, which is nice. You can watch me shade, watch me shade, watch me shade, so you don't miss something. It depends on how you learn or what your experience is. Okay, another second so. Now when I'm teaching in class, I always have students put their finger on this part of their nose right here, where the bridge of the nose and the wing of the nostril wing meet. And you can feel that little area. That area gets a little bit of a darker value. And that area is different. If you were to look at friends and family and look at this little area in their nose, I'm gonna go up the bridge of the nose. That changes from person to person, depending on the form of their nose. All right, I'm gonna do that here. Around the bottom of the nose. Just deepen it a little bit. The bridge. I'm gonna lighten. So I want this all to be highlighted. So this I'm gonna keep white. Make that a little thinner. So when I'm using pencil, I like to try to get control of the shading and rubbing out the values as much as I can without using anything else. And I'm just using a standard number 2 yellow pencil. I'm not using any kind of special drawing pencils. You can, some are softer, some give you some darker darks, but I find that I have a lot of control over this pencil just by the way that I hold it and how I use it. So I'm gonna cast a little bit of shadow here so that nose pops up off of there. All right, so just a little cast shadow here, there. All right, for the nostrils are like a cave. I know that sounds funny, but it's like a cave. So the further back you are in the cave, the darker it is. So as you come out, you want to get lighter, so dark toward the top, and then lighter as you come out. Here you may have a little shadow as well. So if your nose isn't looking as soft as mine, or you know, there's things that just aren't working for you, practice. All this is practice. How to use a pencil, how to hold the pencil. All right, so this is the front view. Now what I'm gonna do is a 3/4 view. So for a 3/4 view, the difference is the wings. The more your nose is turned, the less of the one side that you see. Having a hard time looking around my camera here. Okay, so I'm just gonna show this much on this side. This one has a full nostril, and this one And give a little bit of a ridge there. Only has part of one, like a little hook. And now this is the bridge of your nose. You may see some of that. So I'm just gonna refer to that a little bit and draw it out a little bit. Okay. Now the shading is the same for this, and I don't want this here. If you have a little bit of a pug or upturned nose, you might have a little bit of that, but for just a basic. All right. So again, we're gonna start coarse shadow. Lighten it up. You want to think about where your highlights are. When you look at different pictures, if you make some in black and white, little cast shadow, you're going to notice that the light and how the light hits the face changes where these shadows are and what happens. But just so you know that as things get further away from us or recede in space, they tend to get darker. And as they come toward us or protrude, they will get lighter. I'm going lighter and lighter and lighter now. This is how I'm going to make this highlight come more towards the right side. This area and this area right now, I can see this little difference here. So I'm going to take this pencil and rub the light to the dark as light as I can to get rid of that area. It's almost like a little circle motion. Now I'm not making circles, but it's like a rubbing, a soft rubbing that you do. And it's very important. I'm holding my pencil. I'm going to do this from a distance so you can see how I'm holding my pencil. Very, very lightly. My hand is resting, and this is very loose. I'm not here, all right, and I'm not up in the air. My hand is relaxed, and this is very loose, and it allows me to barely make marks on the paper. It allows me to blend it. So I'm gonna put my highlight here. And here, core. I get lighter here. So now I have a highlight there, there, and there. I'm gonna do that V area that's between your up the side of your bridge of your nose. One of the common mistakes in drawing the nose is drawing a line for the bridge of your nose, and your nose softly turns. It just turns, and therefore, instead of me drawing a hard line here, I'm just giving it values. And notice the direction that I'm using my pencil. I'm going up on that slant. Let this get darker here. That little V area. I'm gonna pull away from it. Oh, notice moving my pencil is getting light. Another thing I like to reiterate is that when you are looking at something that's round, the highlight, the darkest areas and the lightest areas shouldn't be on the edge, unless the light is really hitting them on the edge of the nose. So I'm going to put this highlight just to the right a little bit, so it's consistently right there. And if you want this edge to show up more, sometimes you can put value on the face on the other side of the nose. And what that'll do is it'll make that nose show up. Alright, so now we got this again. Now I'm going dark, so I'm holding my pencil toward the end, and I'm going to get lighter as I come out. So again, I'm going to back off the pencil. I get lighter and lighter as it comes out. Sometimes you even have a little reflected light right here. Get lighter as it comes out. Cast shadow. Make it pop up off the face. All right, and so that's basically a 3/4 pose where the person is turning and you don't see all of one side. And the more they turn, the less you see of that side. All right, so now we're going to finish with a profile. So I'm going to do that, follow the nose again. Circles are not easy. It's easier if you just go in this motion here. And I'm going to put this wing over here, trying to line it up. Kind of want to do that with all of these. Think about how those wings are lining up with the ball of the nose. And now this time I don't see the other side because it's completely turned. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a bridge. I might even want this to come even more, depending on the person's nose. And from here, I'm going to do this as well. And we're going to be shading it the same way. Core shadow. I'm going to back off my pencil, go lighter. Core shadow. Core shadow is the darkest area on the inside of something this round. It's just on the inside of the dark side of that object. And get lighter. I don't want the light to be on the very edge of the nose, so I'm going to go very light here. I don't want it a little too dark, so I'm just going to dab that. I'm going to go light here. Right, now you want the bridge and where they meet. I'm backing up the pencil, lightening it up. Go a little lighter here. Here I might want to show a little bit of the ball of the nose. Got your nostril, darker, lighter as you come out. It looks like I'm moving pretty quickly now because I don't want this video to take too long, but one of the things is that my blending is not showing lines because I'm not pulling away like this. I'm going back and forth quickly, but I'm pulling down at a rate where I'm not getting these lines. So practice that if you're having a hard time. Try to find where you can obtain some of those value changes without seeing lines. All right, and that's basically your 3 views. You have the profile view, the 3/4 view, and the frontal view. Next, I'll be demonstrating eyes.